Don't bother asking me. I'm not fine at all. Does that work? I have it? All right. Today I'm here to tell you about how I broke my leg. I'm just joking. Wow. Ouch. That came beforehand. Where did that come from? Where? Oh, there you go. Okay, so I want you to. Oops, this is not working. Hello. Press that one. I think I'm just working. All right. Listen to this very carefully, and if you know what it is, please raise your hand and tell me where it's from. Things are not going well today. Does anybody know where this is from? Please raise your hand. All right. Who first? I saw you first. Game of Thrones. Congratulations. You get a cookie. Wow, really? Wow. All right. So, good evening, Toastmaster. Hands on response. Good evening, Toastmaster.
Good evening.
My name is Brian.
Brian.
And today I take you on a journey of a different world. Can you jump to the next one? And next one. And next one. Yeah, I forgot. There's 4 other alerts. So if you don't want to know the content, please leave now. I'm joking. Okay, next slide, please. And press it again. There we go. Game of Thrones. All right. Next. Okay. How about? Do you mind if I just go on over here? Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, I did too much. All right. So the story begins at the 7 Kingdoms. At first, it will start with the death of Robert Baratheon. I think I'll just go on, all right? And as Robert Baratheon dies, 3 other people claim themselves kings. Robb Stark of the north, Renly Baratheon, and Stannis Baratheon. And they try to storm the King's Landing while a usurper sits on it, Joffrey Baratheon. All right? And the throne is called the Iron Throne, and it is made by... Sorry, not going well today. Oh. All right, from Robert Baratheon, Robb Stark. You'll be very sour. Sword. And Renly Baratheon, Stannis Baratheon, and not Baratheon. Joffrey Baratheon. And then there's this Iron Throne, which is made by Aegon Targaryen, where he struck down his enemies and collected 1,000 swords and made the Iron Throne. Of course, later on, there will be other Targaryens that are claiming the throne. As the main storyline goes on with the 7 Kingdoms, the other storyline splits out and talks about the Stark family. About the Stark children, how they were split up, and how Jon Snow would survive the wall, how Brandon Stark would become the Three-Eyed Raven, and how Arya Stark would become a great fighter in her own way, and how Sansa Stark would survive King's Landing after all of those years. Other stories would also tell about the House Lannisters, how Jaime Lannister was captured and then returned to King's Landing losing one hand, how each and every one of Cersei Lannister's children would have horrible deaths. And the sad story of Tyrion Lannister. He was about the only sane person and the finest of the Lannisters, but his story was really sad. Do you know who else he is? He made the Thor's axe. Do you know about that? In the Avengers? Alright. Later on, he would become the hand of the queen, the hand of the king, Daenerys Stormborn, mother of dragons, breaker of chains, and great Khaleesi of the great grass city. The grace and the beauty of Daenerys was magnificent. So many of those who saw her would fall in love with her and just fall under her knees. Being the mother of dragons, Daenerys had 3 dragons that she would ride to war, riding on her dragon and spitting out fire to all her enemies and waste them to them. But the Game of Thrones came from the books of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. And critics would say this being epic, the finest television ever made, and they would say, be addicted to it, and be like, I can't get enough of this. I can't get enough of this. The fascinating things about the Game of Thrones is not only the sigil and the motives that it shows, but also about the reality it reflects. It's not just simply good versus evil in the whole story plot, but they tell you how characters are going to change throughout the timeline. And then you would have vengeful deaths inside them. You would see so satisfying how the Cut King would die in his mother's arms. And the death of Littlefinger is also very satisfying. And since this is a reflection of reality, there are a lot of violent and bloody scenes in there. So it's not appropriate to watch in front of the public. Do we have children here today?
Yeah.
All right. And can you cover his eyes for a minute? And also the reality has a lot of nude and, no, don't watch so closely. Let's fast forward this. A lot of sex things. And also there would be a lot of battle scenes that I like very much. Like this is the dance master from Bravos as he fights people with a wooden sword. And the serpent versus the mountain. And the one that I like the most of all, the sword of the morning. What's his name again? I forgot. Sword of the morning as he fights 4 people single-handedly with 2 swords. And then there would be famous photos that come out of this Game of Thrones series, such as a Lannister always pays his debts. Or something else like, you know nothing, Jon Snow. And then the one I love so much, and so my watch begins. There are 7 seasons of Game of Thrones so far, and when you look very closely, you can see that on the right bottom, there's a missing one. Ah, yes. This year, finally this year. Well, this wasn't working at all. Finally this year, in April, Season 8 finale is coming out. So to all of you that haven't seen this before, go see this masterpiece. And you might be able to see Season 8 next month. Coming out of theater near you. Thank you very much.